I'm very proud to rise in strong support of my colleagues, Representative Jeffries and Representative Liu's resolution today, and I thank them for offering this. I do believe that our democracy faces a crisis of trust. We have the American people unsure of who and what to believe, unsure of whether we in Congress are taking our responsibilities of accountability seriously, and the reality of numerous reports every day. It's difficult to go to sleep at night and know what you're going to wake up to. You feel as if a whole news cycle of 30 days has proceeded in the course of 5 or 6 hours. And I think the big questions right now are, when we see people lying under oath, such as the Attorney General, in whose interest are they operating? Why would they lie about connections or conversations with the Russian government? We're not necessarily saying that nobody should have any kind of a conversation, but when somebody lies under oath and perjures themselves, you have to wonder why. And what is being promised or offered in those conversations that people choose not to share what they spoke about? And we've heard, through my colleagues on this committee, the numerous occasions in which Jeff Sessions, in his Senate confirmation process, had a couple of opportunities to set the record straight, and he didn't take any of those. When he told Senator Franken that he was, quote, not aware of any of the Trump campaign's communications with Russia, and he even specifically mentioned that he served as a Trump campaign surrogate, but said, quote, I did not have communications with the Russians. And then later, 1 week later, in writing, he reiterated this position in response to a question from Senator Leahy directly about whether he or anyone, whether he himself had contact with anyone connected to any part of the Russian government, and his response was just one word: no. As a lawyer and a long-term member of Congress who has participated in many confirmation hearings, Jeff Sessions should know better, and indeed, he does know better. And these are all quotes from 1999 from Jeff Sessions. As United States Attorney, this is a quote, as United States Attorney, it was my decision whether an officer who had told a plain lie under oath, even a young officer, should be prosecuted in order to preserve the rule of law and the integrity of the system. Here's another one. As one who loves the law and who has spent the better part of his professional career trying cases, I understand in a profound way just how important it is for justice that citizens tell the truth in court. He went on to say, as a federal prosecutor, I presented thousands of cases to a grand jury and tried hundreds. On many occasions, I have seen witnesses tell the truth, even when it was very painful for them. Such integrity is a source of great strength for our country. The rule of law and the need for integrity in our justice system is why perjury cases are prosecuted in America. Another quote, I have no doubt that perjury qualifies under the Constitution as a high crime. It goes to the heart of the judicial system. Mr. Chairman, I'm deeply disturbed that this man, who clearly understands the seriousness of perjury, or at least did until he was up for confirmation, and now in his position as Attorney General, would now refuse to tell the truth. How can we expect such a person to serve as our nation's top prosecutor? And what do we tell our children about the importance of telling the truth when the top law enforcement officer of this country does not feel the need himself to tell the truth? Now, we've seen—
Gentlewoman from Washington, yield.
I would like to take a few more seconds of my time to finish my statement, and then I'd be happy to yield, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Thank you. We have seen time and time again how the president and his associates have repeatedly denied any wrongdoing when it comes to Russia. We've heard about Michael Flynn, Jared Kushner, Carter Page, and Roger Stone. And I hope that this Attorney General's conduct would be concerning to all. This resolution just asks for information, and I hope that we would, in a bipartisan way, agree to that. Mr. Chairman, I yield for your question.
Without objection, the gentlewoman will be given an additional minute. Does the gentlewoman from Washington recall what this committee impeached President Clinton for?
Mr. Chairman, I'm sure that you recall it since you would like to inform the courtroom or inform the audience of that, so please go ahead.
Well, he was impeached for grand jury perjury and also for civil deposition perjury. The grand jury perjury went to the Senate. The civil deposition perjury count was not approved by the House, but after the impeachment was all over with, the presiding judge at the deposition found that the president had not told the truth and ordered him to pay $90,000 to the plaintiff in that case and sent a certification to the Arkansas Supreme Court, which I believe disbarred him for that.
Mr. Chairman, if I could respond with an additional minute, if you would grant me that?
Of course, without objection.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Additional minute.
I assume that that means that you would be in support then of this resolution because, in fact, this resolution is going to the point of what I believe you were trying to get at, which is that people impeached President Clinton or didn't vote for that, which I assume you're saying was not a good thing if somebody voted against that impeachment. So I believe that we are here to do the right thing. And if you believe, too, that when somebody lies under oath, it is in fact a perjury that we should take seriously, then I would ask you, Mr. Chairman, if you plan to vote for this resolution.
I intend to vote to report the resolution adversely.
I was hoping, Mr. Chairman, that given your question, which set up perfectly my response, that you would now say that you are on board in a bipartisan way with Mr. Jeffries and Mr. Liu's resolution that would actually hold us in Congress accountable for holding people accountable if they do not tell the truth,
Well, if the
especially in a
gentlewoman
confirmation.
will yield again, this resolution doesn't seem to be very bipartisan. I would urge her as a new member, if you want to get things passed, make them bipartisan.
Will the gentleman yield?
The time belongs to the gentlewoman from Washington, which has expired. For what purpose does the gentleman from Florida seek?
Move to strike the last word, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, your suggestion that the failure to have bipartisan support for this resolution is somehow the fault of my friend from Washington, I think is not only unfair to her, but really raises the fundamental problem that this committee is struggling with. In fact, it raises the fundamental problem that the House is struggling with. The last time we had a hearing like this with a markup, Mr. Chairman, on a similar resolution to ask for additional information that would help us better understand the serious concerns that we have about what happened before the election and since with respect to the Trump campaign and the White House. We were told, as I recall in that hearing, that this was somehow about political gamesmanship, that we were told, I believe one of our colleagues from across the aisle suggested that we were still working through the stages of grief. Our mental state was questioned at that markup, as I recall. And Mr. Chairman, the fact is that there has been nothing that has transpired since that last markup that has done anything other than further bolster the need for us to get the information that the American people need to have